Okay. Namaste, everyone. It's a Thursday evening. It's raining heavily in Mumbai. So, thank you so much for all those who've taken the effort to join in today. Our session today is part three of the knowledge series we are doing all of this month, in which we are bringing to you students studying at few of the top universities globally. Our intention is to help you get a frank inside picture of these universities, the courses offered, and some insights on how did these students made it to these top universities. So joining us today is Akriti Joshi, who is a sophomore at the prestigious Stern School of Business at the New York University, USA. Thank you so much, Akriti, for joining us today, even though you're under the weather. So,
Thank
audience,
you so much.
before we dig deeper into this conversation, let me introduce myself. I am Varnika Agarwal, a career coach and founder of My Big Leap. We are an independent education and career guidance consultancy based in Mumbai with a global reach. We handhold students and parents and provide various services, right from career counseling, which includes stream and subject selections from class 8 onwards, based on our scientific assessment tools, which help in choosing the right careers for students and making the right subject choices. We also work with working professionals who are looking to recalibrate their career path and change tracks or maybe change gears. We also help with profile building and university applications for admissions both in India and abroad, while also helping young parents who are looking for finding the right curriculum when the children are starting their academic life. We've had our students selected in few of the top universities across the world. Next slide, please. Names of some of these universities you can see on your screen. Now let's come to today's session. We have planned this as a 40-minute chat, which includes 10 minutes of Q&A at the end. So dear audience, please keep typing in your questions as and when you get them in the chat box, and I will try and include most of them as we go along. But even if there's some left at the end, I will try and cover as many as possible in the Q&A at the end. So let's get started, Akriti.
Sure.
Great. So, Akriti, why don't you tell us about the course that you are studying and what attracted you to this course?
The course I'm studying, so I'm majoring in business. So it's a bachelor's of science in business. And I'm going to be concentrating in two fields, that is finance and computing and data science. So as I say, what really interested or like attracted me to this course was the fact that it gave me an opportunity to do something I eventually want to do at a very early stage in my life. And it also gave, as an international student, gave me a chance to actually opt for a STEM program to computing and data science, which like would make it easier for me after I graduate.
Oh, very interesting. So when you say you're doing business and you're also talking about very interesting other concentrations, so what does this business course really entail, at college? And do tell us about the various majors and minors that are offered at NYU.
NYU offers all kinds of majors and minors, and like you could do science, you could do like medicine, you could do engineering, you could do film. Like I think NYU's film school is also so well renowned, and it's like everything you like want to do, you can do. It's also really it really believes in its liberal arts curriculum, so as to like students kind of have a holistic development. For example, they need you to fulfill the writing core. They need you to fulfill the cultures and context core. They want you to have a science class if you're not a science student. Like they need you to do these things so that you develop holistically rather than just one stream and one path for you. So that way you have a knowledge about so many other things you otherwise would not have knowledge about. I think that is one thing that I really I'm impressed with from NYU, because as much as sometimes it's hard because there are subjects you really do not like know about or like are not the best at, but they give an opportunity to learn so much about it. And like I studied about Egypt under my cultures and context curriculum, which I don't think I would have ever like done or studied. So there's some things that are really great, I think, that American education offers, and I think that was one of the few reasons why I chose uh, like that curriculum, that university.
Wonderful. Akriti, may I ask you to maybe, tell us, you mentioned liberal arts curriculum.
Hmm.
So what do you really mean by that? For the benefit of our audience, if you can elaborate a little bit on the liberal arts. Is it studying arts, what we understand in India? Or what is it?
No.
Because you said you are studying business and you were mentioning data science and finance. So how is it
No.
arts?
It's not. So NYU, like American education in general, is like there's a liberal studies curriculum, which means there are certain aspects that you need to need to cover. Like there are certain core curriculum that on any for any student in order to graduate, no matter which major you're into, there are some courses that you need to take, which otherwise not the is not compulsory. Like for example, if you're in the UK, you don't need to take other courses, but in US, they really hold it in strong regard to complete the other courses. If you There are two different curriculums. Liberal studies is another curriculum, which is basically more so they like for first 2 years, the classes are designed for you. You're practically undecided as to what major you are, because they want you to explore many options. So that's what a liberal arts college or liberal arts curriculum does, is first 2 years you're just exploring, and then eventually you dive into a particular field. But NYU has a liberal arts curriculum that includes writing the essay, cultures and context, text and ideas, science class, a math class if you've not taken any other math classes. So this is the liberal arts curriculum which needs to be fulfilled. I think it's a combination of five classes, five core classes, and that is what is a liberal arts curriculum. It's nothing related to like arts as what we think in India, as what is attributed to arts in India. It's something, it's different.
Absolutely, Akriti, very beautifully explained. And let me just extend what you just said for the benefit of our audience, because I can see we have very varied audience here. I have students joining from Assam, we have students from Mumbai, we have students from Jaipur, and we have students across curriculums and across grades. I have some eighth graders also here today. So, liberal arts curriculum is really a way of thinking, right? It's not nothing to do, as Akriti said, with arts. Okay, it is a way of thinking. It's a pedagogy in which helps you hone your life skills, your way of thinking, right? Because to be able to think holistically about a particular subject, you need to have understanding from all different perspectives. And that's the reason when Akriti is mentioning that she was doing a cultures and context course, right? So why should a business student be studying cultures and context? Because tomorrow when you work in an organization, you need to understand what context that business is in. So you need to be able to appreciate that idea. Same way, writing skills are very, very important in any career, any job. That's why she's taking a writing course as part of her liberal arts curriculum. Am I right, Akriti?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yes.
And interestingly, in India also these days, we have a lot of liberal arts universities that have come up and they're offering fantastic courses. Universities like Ashoka University, CREA, OP Jindal, Flames, these are wonderful universities who are also offering the liberal arts curriculum, which is based on the US model of education. Yeah, so let's go forward. And Akriti, tell us a little about your high school journey and what subjects you took in high school and which you think they helped you reach where you are right now.
I did my 11th and 12th from Jamnabai, from ISC. So I'm from an Indian board, so I did not do like an IB school. So for me, the classes I took were like typical commerce stream classes, like business, accounts, economics, English, and math. These are my five classes. And I think it is possible to like not take these classes and still get into a business school. Like they don't have any prerequisite of you having a business class or you take in, because in high school many schools, many countries don't offer a business class, so they take that into account and they're okay if you've not taken a business class in your high school. So it's okay if you're from a science stream and you just go into business, they're okay with that. So that's like from my high school, that these are the classes that I took. And yeah, what was your other question?
One second. So basically, I was asking you which subjects you took and which subject you feel that helped you get into this course that you are
Yeah,
studying.
so I don't think there's any particular subject that really helped me to get into the college, but economics, commerce were subjects I really was interested in while studying. So that's what actually drew me to this field, and like it's something that I would want to do. So yeah, that was like a big like a big booster to me personally. But I don't think the university really bothered about what subjects you're taking in high school.
So, Akriti, just to an extension to what we are discussing right now, I have a question from one of the audience. This girl is from Assam, and she lives in the tea gardens, and she's saying that the network there is extremely poor, and because of that, her 10 boards were, oh sorry, the recent board exam that she took, she didn't score very well, right? So she's saying that she of course can perform better, but of course because of the whole pandemic and online schooling and all of that, she hardly got chance to attend her classes. So she's asking that apart from extracurriculars and essays, do the universities look at grades so important that that even if she improves her grades in 11th, does she still have a chance to get into the top universities? And she's mentioned her list: NYU, Brown, UPenn, Stanford, LSE. What do you think?
Um,
Based on
I
your
think
experience.
I think grades are really important, but I feel one of the best things about US is they see for your 4 years grade, they see your progress. If you can make progress in 11th grade, in 12th grade, that is something that's really that they consider really important, because no one's like gifted and no one is like always doing well. Everyone has, and you can actually in your essays talk about the reason why you didn't do well in your like ninth, 10th, or like the board exams. And I think they'll be really understanding for it, and like I think they're really open to for people to actually grow. So if you show an improvement, I think you will be sorted. But I also think that grades are important if you're looking into the universities you mentioned. So I think yeah, grades are important. You need to be, especially if you're like LSE, if you want to go into a UK university, I think grades are all that matters for a UK university. So especially UK, I think grades are really important. But for US, I think they great, you need good grades. But I think if somehow you're not like a 99 in grades, it's okay if you can balance it out with your extracurriculars.
Sure. So grades certainly are important, but as Akriti mentioned, US admission process is very holistic. Okay, so the things that they are looking at is not just grade. Okay, they are not looking at you as one number. Okay, and they are looking at you as a person, as a whole person, right? Which includes your grades, of course. And grades is not just one data point, it is how you've been as a student throughout the years, right? Which means how has your so have you shown improvement, or it's been a very shaky kind of a, or maybe ups and downs, too many of ups and downs, or maybe it's been a downtrend, right? So what has been the graph for you academically is very important, and not just one particular year which maybe could have been wrong or bad. Apart from that, they also look at the extracurriculars and overall your curiosity as a student, how passionate you are towards a subject you want to pursue. And along with that, the essays are really really important, because you can of course give an explanation in your essay that why your grades were bad, right? And if there is a logical reason, you can justify that. I think that should be taken care of. Yeah. Having said
Right.
all of this, good grades are important. Yeah, because for your application to get screened, that's the first step, and then
Yeah,
everything else
that is
comes
the
in.
first step. And I think first impressions last. So I think the first time they see us, like applicant, uh, the application, they really, I think it really matters. But I also feel they really give a lot of opportunity to the student. They really try to understand the student, to be empathetic. I think the admission officers are really, really kind in some ways. They really like at times your essay couldn't really get you through it if they connect with you, if they know, like they understand you. So I
But the,
think that.
the most important part in all of this is to be very authentic, to be true.
Yeah,
Because if you try to make up and cook up things,
they
they
see
can
through it.
really see through it because, they are really experienced and smart people who are looking at thousands of applications
Yeah,
year on year, they are screening. So, they are way ahead of what you are thinking. So better not to be, not to, fake some stuff, be really genuine and, show yourself, show your vulnerable self also,
yeah.
if that is what you
Because
want.
I think if you try to be someone, something, they've already seen that application. If you try to be yourself, everyone has a unique story of their own. And I think if you just actually are yourself, you will be a unique applicant. So don't
I
try
think
to be someone. I think your own strength is you, your story. So I think that really pays off.
very well said, Akriti. And Trisha, I would request you to get in touch with us and we'll be very happy to guide you further on if there are any specific areas that you want help or you are stuck on. Yeah, so Akriti, let's move on. I think this was a very interesting piece that we, had this discussion on. Okay, so NYU doesn't really have one big campus. Okay, rather it's spread all around the New York City. So how do you manage your classes and your commute? Do you find it difficult because it's just so spread out? And does it get difficult? And if you can also take us through your typical day.
Yeah, so I think for the campus, it's not typically as spread out as people think it is. So we have basically two big campuses. One is in Manhattan, that's around the Washington Square Park. So everything is around the park. That's literally 10 minutes from each other. And another campus is in Brooklyn, which is the engineering campus. Like that's the engineering school that's in Brooklyn. So that's nothing to do with me, my classes. So they're there. So for me, I think my dorm was like literally 15 minutes away from from NYU, like all the major classes. So it's like a 15-minute walk. So it wasn't that bad. And as for living in the city, living in Mumbai, I'm so used to living the city life, and I think it would be tougher for me to go into another college which is not like where there's no hustle bustle. I think that would be much harder for me.
I
So
think the
that way,
action that you've grown up with in being in Mumbai is what you also see similar action and
yeah,
full amount of people you see in New York,
yeah,
right? That makes you feel home
100%.
person.
Yeah. So that way, I think the commute is pretty okay. Eventually, I think if you like after first year, after 2 years, you kind of move out of the NYU housing and you want to like have apartment of your own, and then maybe like the commute could be a bit more. But I think the subway, there are many subways because it's a big city, so it's very well connected. So I don't think that is an issue at all. And like for my day, I think usually I try to get done with my classes before 12. So I wake up and the first thing I do is finish my classes. And then I just sit in the library, finish my homework, have lunch, all of this stuff, and then I just go to the NYU gym, and then I come home, have dinner, and I go to sleep. It's as simple as that.
Okay, so that's interesting. I'm happy to know that you are, exercising there also, Akriti, while I know you are regular to the gym while you are on a break here. So were you always gymming or is this some new bug that has caught you?
No, I think after I got into NYU is when I actually got into fitness as well. So I think NYU has got a good change in my life. All the changes for the better. So yeah, that's when I think after I got into, I think literally 15 days after I got into NYU is where I started really taking fitness seriously, just striving to be fit. And I think, yeah, that's when it started.
So why don't you tell us how is the campus culture and
Mhm.
what is the diversity at the campus that you see and NYU being and especially Stern, right? Does it get super competitive?
I think NYU is a very, very diverse school. I think it's one of the most diverse schools in the US. And I think New York itself is such a diverse city. Maybe if you're in the suburbs, you won't see so much of diversity. But being in the city center, being in Manhattan, I think there's nothing more diverse than that. So, but competitive, I guess business schools in general are known to be competitive. So I won't speak for NYU as a whole. I think NYU as a whole is a very like a very friendly competition. Everything's nice, but if you when you enter the business side of it, it's where people it gets the corporate route. It's where people actually want to be the best. It's it's in the business school that the competition is really hard. Um, and that's just because that's true for every business school. That's how people are because everyone just knows what they want to do. If you're in a business school, you have a career thought out for you. That's the reason why you're there. And once you're there, you just know what to do in a way. And it's also more like it's like the cream of the cream. You're studying with one of like like few of the best brains in the world. So obviously there is competition. So yeah, there.
Akriti, this sounds very scary and overwhelming, I'm sure, to a lot of students because, a lot of times parents say, oh, just get into a top university, good university, and then you're sorted, right? So do you think, it becomes even more crazy once you're there, or it's enjoyable, it's pleasurable while you're learning? What is it?
I think for me personally, it's been great. If even if I think I just take inspiration from people around me. I think always, even as a kid, I've always been motivated by people around me. If someone's doing something and something that's really inspiring, I would want to do that as well. So I don't mind people being better than me per se in terms of grade, or it just they just inspire me to actually work hard to do that. So that's how I've operated throughout my childhood. Competition really brings out the best in me personally. So I really don't mind that aspect of it. But yeah, I think it depends. Like I've heard quite a few stories of all big universities where people kind of like really go into their shell because they're not used to such people. Like you can be the best in your school when the sample size is pretty small, and then you're suddenly exposed to this environment where it's completely different. But I think it's the same thing as you it all depends on the person. You can be strong, you could get through it. And but it I won't generalize it, but if you're like strong mentally, if you just look at the positive aspects, it is fine, it's simple. It will actually bring out the best in you. There's a reason they are big universities, you know because they have so much to offer.
Absolutely. I
So
think,
I think
Akriti, you brought in very beautiful perspective here for a lot of students who are listening to you today. And, as a counselor, I want to tell you that, when you accept others' success, or rather, when you don't accept your peers' success or others' success, it becomes jealousy. But when you
Mhm.
accept it and you try to learn from it, it becomes inspiration. I think
Yeah.
that's the difference, right? You will always find people who are better than you, but
Mhm.
it's your outlook, it's your approach, how you take to it, and then whether you want to learn from it or get bogged down by that competition and jealousy and all of that. So it's always nice, and Akriti is telling from her own experience, right? When you and it's nice, it's great to be studying with the best minds, right?
You
Because
learn
then
so much.
as a person you grow so much, right? So it's always a wonderful experience when you take it with that positive approach.
Yeah.
uh, I can see all you children have become so matured in just 1 year. It's so lovely. Okay, so Akriti, let's get to now understanding. So can you maybe tell us, what is this major and minor concept in US, which is very different from what is offered here in India or a UK? If you can give your perspective on that.
So I think major is basically the degree you want to pursue, the major degree literally. Like suppose if you're in India, you're doing a BSc finance. Finance is your major. Similarly, in US, that is your major, the biggest, like the degree around which everything will revolve, the degree that will show up on your resume, on your graduation script, or whatever that degree that is the main thing that you're doing. So in Stern, you are graduating with the BS in business. That's my degree. That's my major. Minor is anything you want to do. Minor, you could do anything you want. I think that is something in US which is not in other countries. Is that if being in business, I want to do um, a film course, I could minor in something like TV if I want, something in music if I want, because I like it. I think they give you that opportunity to do that. Again,
And
that
this
will
is
not
where
show.
the liberal arts education
Yeah,
comes in, right? That's
yeah, they allow
the
you to do
of
that.
yes.
There's this flexibility in the education system that allows you to actually do what you like, and I think that is beautiful. And so that's when minors come in. You could use it as just to do what you want, or something to actually better your resume in a way, like to do more classes. Like, for example, I'm doing something like computing and data science, which is secondary to what business actually is. It's like a different degree, it's like a different concept. So I'm kind of minoring in computing and data science, just because I feel that it will add onto my portfolio, like what I have to offer. So you could do anything like you wish for, want. I think that's what minors are for. It's just, instead of just taking random classes, minors help you to have a path to a little form of degree, so that you have um, a little experience, knowledge in some sort of field instead of just a class. So it's like
You
a
basically start
short,
focusing on a particular area, right?
yeah, a
You
shorter
start
major.
concentrating. Yeah, yeah. So, Akriti, could you tell us any one of the most interesting courses that you taken so far?
I think for the first year, I think as of now, apart from my required classes of economics and business, I think one of the classes I really liked was, again, cultures and context, which was something I found so hard when I was actually in that class. But once it got over, I think I really looked back at it and I was really proud of it, because it was something so out of my comfort zone. But I got to learn so much. I really learned about Egypt's history, like Greco-Roman, Egypt and Cleopatra, and everything you just like know words of, but actually learning the history about it was like a lot of fun. Something that I don't think I would have got the opportunity if I was not in NYU. And one more other class was a class that you need to take in your first year. It's like a first year seminar class. And I had a opportunity to
Process
learn from
seminar, you said.
first year seminar. It's just like a
First year seminar.
first year,
Okay.
like you have to take a class, like everyone has to take a first year seminar. So I took it in the spring semester. You can take it either in the fall or spring. So I took it in the spring. I got to learn from Nobel Prize winner in economics. So like to actually interact with someone like who's such an intellectual, it was like, and to actually sit in the same room, he's literally sitting like 5 feet away from me, and like to actually interact with him, for him to actually like know me and like actually work with me on where I'm going wrong or something. I think that opportunity was so great. I think that class was special to me because of this. I think that is one reason why I think big universities are so, like, give you this opportunity to interact with such people. Like, I would never thought of a Nobel Prize winner being my professor. So that was something really great.
I'm sure these are very, very valuable and enriching experiences, right?
Mhm.
So there is somebody who wants to know, while we were discussing the majors and minors, there's this follow-up question on that what is double major then, right? And applying as a double major, does that increase your chance to get into NYU Stern in particular?
So I think while you're applying to NYU Stern, you can't apply as a double major, because NYU Stern gives you three majors, that is BS in business, BS in business technology and entrepreneurship, and BS in business political economy. So Stern as such has its own little thing while applying. But while you get into it, you can double major. Is that now it will be an extensive form of your minor. So instead of doing a little bit of that subject, you're actually finishing the whole degree in it. So that will again show up in your resume. So you can actually write like BS in business and a BS in data science, for example. So you're actually actually getting a proper degree in it. So that is the one difference between
Yeah.
double majoring and just a minor.
So, if I may also add on my understanding that double majors are far more rigorous as a course, right? Because it's like studying two different courses independently, right? So, a major and minor will be one, you'll be taking more courses in a particular subject of a particular subject, and lesser maybe for the minor. But when you do a double major, you're studying two independent subjects or courses full bang, right? Having said that,
No, I
if you are
think
able to do it, yeah.
I think I won't say it's. I think with minor, you're also taking the same classes you're taking in a major. You're just not taking the number of classes as much. Suppose if you're taking 12 classes in a major, you're taking 7 in a minor. So, but you're taking the same classes. It's not like you're taking some different classes for a minor. So, I think the
Yeah, so
degree is going to be,
your workload basically
yeah,
increases
workload increases, but
quite a
at the end
bit
of the
if you're
day,
doing a double
yeah,
major.
you will have to, if you don't have, suppose if you're in a minor, you will have those extra 5 classes. Some people just do another minor instead of that, so they can have 2 minors to use those, because at the end everyone has to complete the same number of classes as a total. So I think it depends on how you want to pace things. Like I think sometimes they really encourage you to take a easier class if you have a really tough semester going on. So that way, one class is used for that. But I won't say if like someone's doing like 3 minors, and if someone's doing double major, I think their workload is going to be the same. So I don't think what you're actually like doing defines how tough it is. I think at the end of the day, like
I think
you
it's
need to,
also about how you want to design your degree because
yeah,
US in that sense gives you that beautiful flexibility to design your own degree,
yeah.
which you normally don't get otherwise in other countries like UK or maybe for that matter even India, right? It's very
Mhm.
straight line, a very straight
You,
jacket.
what you
But
get into, like if it's like a BSc in finance, that's what you're doing.
yeah, so
That's,
if you enroll for BSc Finance, you do that, you finish that, and you get out, right?
yeah,
Whereas in US, you have that flexibility of really designing your own
yeah,
degree.
yeah,
And that's where the choosing of majors and minors come in, or doing a double majors
yeah,
come in, or the one major and two minors, right? Which will
yeah,
help you maybe, broaden your reach or, your basically applicability, different fields that you could possibly, apply your knowledge or you could be open to when you are looking for jobs.
yeah, 100%.
So, okay, so what is typically the student-teacher ratio at Stern, and how big are your classes? And then based on that, does that affect your how good or not so good is your interaction one-on-one with your professors?
I think it depends on the classes you're taking. For example, writing the essay was only a 15 student class. But if it's a big class, like I think my math class was like it's a lecture, so it was 100 student lecture. And but if you have these big classes, you also get one class in a week that's called recitation. That is basically, again, you're divided into groups of 15. So you again have 15 and one instructor who will go over whatever the professor taught in the lectures, and like in short, a revision, and you can ask that person your doubt. I think professors are very open to questions to students to help. They have their office hours. They have you can email them. They'll get back to you. I think that way it's very helpful. And you also have like learning centers where there are other students who have actually taken that course previously and who are willing to help you. So I think that way it's really helpful. The professors have been great, like the TAs have been great, and like the students have been great, like for help.
Great. So, Akriti, what will be your advice for the students who are aiming to apply to US this year? And I have some students here, who are attending, who are applying specifically to Stern, and maybe the ones who are joining NYU.
So my advice to them, I think, just for application process, I think just be yourself. If you're applying for a business major in Stern, like I mean, if you're applying to Stern, like I think in your portfolio, I think you need something to relate to business, like why you like kind of are interested in it, like maybe like internship, something that actually gave you the opportunity to actually, okay, I want to do this, because business is not something that is that you kind of interact with early in your life as compared to science. So you need like to show something, like why you're interested in it in the application point of view, I guess. And like again, as we spoke about it, like be yourself in the application. And I think if you're like coming into NYU, I think you don't need to worry. I think everyone finds their tribe, everyone finds their family, and you meet great people. It's a large university, so it can get overwhelming at the start, at the beginning, but I think it just, you need to give it time and it will just settle down. It's gonna be great.
Super. That's very encouraging to hear, Akriti.
Mm.
Tell me, how is the food and your, the canteen or the mess,
Mm.
the eating? Is it easy to get food, especially for vegetarians there? And how is
I
it?
think if you're a
I think
very
as
picky
parents
eater,
stress a lot, when the children are going, they stress a lot about, what will my child
yeah,
eat?
yeah. If you're a picky eater, then I think it's gonna be hard. Because I think for vegetarian, like the options are limited, but there are options. But if you're a picky eater, then you'll be like, oh, I can't have the same thing every day. I can't, have this every day. I don't like this. So then you want to go out and eat. But there are many options in New York, especially to find food, to find good vegan food as well. So there are really great options. So I think obviously you won't find like the ghar ka khana, like garam garam, like all of that. That you won't find, but I think you find food. You find some really delicious food.
Superb. So I think what is important is to be open-minded, not just in
Mm.
your to ideas, but to everything in life, right?
Yeah,
To be open-minded to
100%.
trying out new things also, right? Because
Yes,
finally, if you
totally.
put in the fuel that you need to survive, how will you function there, right? So be
Yeah.
open-minded.
Be
Okay.
open-minded to food, to people, to like, I think you learn so much. You need to be like everyone's opinions. Everyone has their own personality. You need to like be open to it, to how they are. You can't be very judgy there. I think we just need to be really open everywhere.
So, Akriti, there's one very interesting question I've got, from a student, and I think it's a parent question, right? That what is the upside of studying in US, from based on your experience?
I think number one, I think what my mother would say is that I've become independent. That is not something that would have happened if I was in my house, and like even if right now I'm at my house, I'm not independent at all. There, she's like, "How are you living in the US?" But one to one, I do everything on my own. And number two, I guess again, the flexibility of education. I think in India, it's so marks oriented. It's so like one stream, and you're like bound to it. There's no other learning scope. You are literally just like doing one thing.
One
I think
track, basically.
one track, and I think that way US gives you a lot of opportunity to actually learn so much. There's so much to learn in the world, and I think it just gives you so much opportunity that way. And you interact with people from all around the world, from different cultures. I think that kind of learning is very different from textbook learning. I think that way you just learn so much every day, like about different cultures, about how people live. I think that is something that I think going abroad gives you that maybe in India it doesn't.
Mhm. Superb. So I'm already taking audience question while we are sort of, we finished the time that we had budgeted, but I'll just take quick, maybe two more questions, Akriti, if you allow me.
Yeah, 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 sure.
There's one question from a student who's saying, how did you cope up with the obvious and sudden changes that you were faced with, suddenly managing everything on your own, and of course, education, the weight, managing everything on your own and then studying. Did that affect your performance, affect your studies? Basically, how did you manage your time to fit in the extracurricular activities? Is
I
that is okay? So I want to ask the student, are you asking how did she manage her time in her high school, or are you asking in while she's there at the university? Okay, she wants to know at the university, how are you managing your time, managing everything on your own while you're also studying there?
so again, I don't cook, so I don't have to really spend a lot of time there. I just sometimes have to do my laundry. That's about it, I guess. Living in the NYU housing, there's not much I need to do. But yeah, I
But
think
you
just
will
to
have to
get
take care, you will have to do the housekeeping of your room or maybe the apartment that you are
that's
in.
I don't think that takes a lot of time. I think that you just think that takes a lot of time, but I think when you get to it, when you like, I think for especially being a pandemic freshman student, I had to go on my own. I traveled on my own. I moved in on my own, so I didn't have my parents there with me. So literally, I think that part was where I was like, okay, this is too much adulting. I opened my bank account on my own. All of this was like happening, and I think that was the most like
Hardest part,
challenging
I
part of
think.
it. I think that's when I did so much stuff, shopping for my dorm, all of that. And I think managing studies is basically it's the same thing as you do it in high school. I think you're focused and you literally manage it. And in fact, you'll be surprised with how much time you get. I think you just need to prioritize it. I know people like, for example, I go to the gym every day. No matter if my finals are going on, I'll make sure I'll wake up early and I go. I think that's something I prioritize as compared to people who say they don't just have the time, so they won't go. But I think if you want, like, if you really prioritize something, you'll be able to do it. I think you always have time. You just need to take out the time. In
Oh,
that,
Akriti, I love that. I love that.
so it's just what you want, what you prioritize. I think everyone watches television, but that's something you want to give your time to. You could give that time to something else if you want. So I think time management is really your choice, your goals, and your priority.
Super. Very beautifully, put Akriti. So proud of you for, putting that across so beautifully. So there is one student from Jaipur. He's saying, I'm applying to NYU's turn ED this year. So he wants to know specifically, are grades are important for me or my activity list?
Both. I think one balances the other. So make sure if you are not up to the mark in one aspect, the other aspect balances it out. But I think they just see it as a whole. I feel,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. Because he's further asking what's the ratio between essays, LOR, SAT scores, and
Okay,
the whole.
I won't know that. I'm really
Nobody
sorry.
knows that. Okay, let me
Nobody
answer
knows
that
that.
question. Nobody knows that, Priyank, because this is something that even universities also. So as we said, right, US admissions process is a holistic process, right? So it is not about one particular thing, but a combination of lot of different things that come into play. So there is no percentage really, so to say. And if even if there is, nobody knows about it. And with
And I
every
would say I've sorry to
university,
interrupt you. I've actually seen the perfect candidate on paper being rejected from their dream universities. So there was no reason why that person was rejected, but they got rejected. So I don't think there's any like you could
so
do
I'll
your
give you the
best.
reason for that, Akriti. So
Yeah,
you should always look at the right applying to universities that speak to you. So you have to find the right fit, and that's what universities are also looking at from students. That every university has a character of its own. Okay, they have a
true.
culture. So they are looking for students who they foresee will be able to adapt to that culture, will be able to fit into that university environment and do well there, right? So if even if
True.
there is a perfect scorer and everything seems fine, but as a personality it seems like a mismatch to the university, then you have the answer.
Yeah, that's true.
So somebody is asking, ma'am, is psychology a good course to subject to pursue? Of course, psychology is a wonderful program to pursue. Depends on how passionate you are and what do you want to, do further in psychology. You can pursue psychology as a pure subject. You can combine psychology with, maths, psychology with economics, psychology with, computer science. There are so many directions psychology can take you to. So definitely, if you're looking at pursuing psychology, go for it. And we need lot more and more psychologists as times go by, because we are seeing so many mental health problems that are multiplying. I think I will have to close now because we really shot up on our budgeted time. Akriti, thank you so much for joining us today, and really really grateful that in spite of you down with fever and not feeling well from last so many days, you still you showed up today and spoke with our students and so beautifully answered all the questions. I'm sure audience, you also thoroughly enjoyed listening to us and listening to Akriti as much as I enjoyed talking to you, Akriti. and wishing you absolutely wonderful future ahead and get well soon. Thank you everyone for joining us today. You
Thank you
can
so
reach
much for
out.
having me.
Absolute pleasure. You can reach out to us on Facebook, Instagram, or on our YouTube channel. And we shall see you again on August 18th, Friday, 7 p.m., for another interesting conversation on careers in data science at the undergraduate level and beyond. And this time we have a very interesting panelist who is Stephen Turban, who studied statistics and data science at Harvard University and is currently a doctoral fellow at the prestigious Harvard Business School. Till then, goodbye. Namaste.